welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca, also known as 4Kids at 147, and the time has come. I need another photo box for my spares. They are far too full, basically. So I have got a fourth photo box. I need to create my foam inserts for said photo box. So what I thought I'd do is I'd do them all with you. So if there's anybody that hasn't yet set up a photo box storage system and wants to, then maybe you could join me and get your foam inserts ready so that you can start adding your spare diamonds. So we have a photo box. I'm going to pop the lid on the bottom just for now. This is one of my current. So what I need to create is these side inserts, and I'm going to create the ones for the end. So for each end. I'm not going to create the double ones with the numbers on, because I'm not sure if I'm going to need them. My plan is to potentially use this fourth box, because I already have 3, and split my rounds and my squares so they're in 2 boxes each. But what I may do is I may just shuffle everything over so that they fit, all of them fit across 4 boxes, and my rounds and my squares are together like they are now. So I currently have a bag for rounds and a bag for squares, and I've picked one that's got no diamonds in. But I know I currently have a bag for each behind one card. So I'm not quite sure which way I'm doing that yet, but I do know I need another box, which means I need to create my inserts. So I thought we can do that today. Now I am going to grab one of these from down the side, and I'm going to grab one from the back to use to double check my measurements. But apart from that, I don't need this. And this is just to confirm the measurements. I do have them on my website, but I don't have my website up. I'm currently talking to you guys, and my computer is currently sorting out videos for me. These are obviously strips left from ones before that I've not got rid of. I don't think I need them. But I'm just using foam board, so it's white foam board. It was originally a 5-pack. This is from the range. I think it was $2.99 a pack. Yes, $2.99 a pack from the range, which is in the UK. And I'm pretty sure I used inches for the measurements on here. Yes, so it's 11 inches by 3.5 inches for the big pieces. So I'm going to start with those, because it's always easier to make some small pieces out of your offcuts, but it's not easier to make bigger pieces out of your offcuts. So 3.5 inches is about there, and then another 3.5 takes it to 7. And then I need to make sure that I do the same this way. So 3.5. You could just use a pen or a pencil to do this and then cut your foam board later. I just tend to push down my craft knife. Do make sure that you've got some sort of mat underneath when you are using a craft knife. And then I'm using my ruler to join up the 2. Now this craft knife is quite short, i.e. that's the longest it will go. I'm hoping it's long enough. If not, I might have to go hunting for another one. Because what I want it to do is, of course, cut all the way through the foam board, even though it's still hitting my ruler. I tend to find I have to go through it at least twice, because the first time tends to cut through the top layer and the foam, and the second or third time is what goes through the actual paper the other side. And this one's partly done it, but not quite. There we go, got it to snap. Not always the neatest edge, but I do have a way of neatening up the edges, so I'll do that after. And then let's do the second one. cut through this. You can also get foam board in black as well. So I do have another box that I use for my Heaven and Earth designs that I've actually done in black. So there's 2 inserts for in here, and they're, oh no they're not, because they're not cut shorter yet. They're still the same size as an A4, they don't fit. They actually need to go. So this is where I sort of pick the nicest corner as well. They're the nicest corners. So 11 inches, and then we'll move it this way. 11 inches. Pop my ruler down, and then again, a couple of firm cuts through, and it pulls away. Does that now fit? That now fits. And it's a little bit shorter than the box. It's shorter than the cardstock that I put inside as well, because this is just to help hold it stay up straight. You still want to be able to flip your fingers through. So for cutting the next one, now I actually don't think I'm going to be able to cut through all the way because my craft knife is not that long. If my craft knife was longer, I could use that as my edge, but it's not. So I'm going to use it to get myself a line, and then I'm going to cut through. So there we go, 2 bits to go. So that's 2 dividers, but I do use 3 in this. I'm just going to check I don't have any. So I've just checked my Heaven and Earth design box, and I have some fillers, some spare fillers from when I last created in there, but I don't have anything long. So I need one more big long strip. So again, this needs to be 3.5 from one end, 3.5 to the other end, and then all the way down. There we go. So that is my 3rd strip. So one of them butts up against the wall, or at least it will when I cut it to 11. One of them butts up against the wall, and then the other 2 go in between the DMC card. I never used to have this 3rd one, but I have found that since popping the 3rd one in the box, it does just help the DMC cardstock that we sell in the shop. It just helps it to stay just that little bit straighter. Just a little bit of a snugger fit having the 3rd piece of foam board in there. Oh, there we go, that was easy enough. So I've got 3 pieces. We pull out my 3000s again. So can you see these? It still fits with 2, but a 3rd one down this side just makes them all just a little bit snugger. The only thing is getting it back in after I've taken it out. Let me try. I can hear all the diamonds moving to that side of the bag. Oh look, there we go. See, that's fitting in now. There we go. So yeah, it just helps them to be just that little bit snugger against each other. So this is the dividers that we're sort of going for. So we have 3 of those. They're not yet pretty, but we have 3 of those. The next one is the pieces that I put either end. Now, sometimes I do take these out. Have I done it in this one? No, I've not done it in this one, but sometimes I have on one of my other boxes, if I've needed just that little bit more room, I've taken them out. So let me see if I've taken them out of it. Yeah, so here we go. This is my toughest box to squeeze things in. I've actually taken them out of the back of this one to allow me a little bit more room to pop my diamonds in. So that will be where these 3 have come from the back of this box. So really what I do need to do, even though I have those here, I still need to cut myself enough for this box, so 6 in total. And the measurements of these, so it is still 3.5 inches in length. The width of these is 2.25 inches. So that is the same size as the cardstock that goes in. So I'm going to cut, let's have a look, can I get 2 2.25s? I can. And then how many 3.5s can I get? 1, 2, 3. So I can get 6 pieces out of this. If I did 1 strip of 3.5 and then did 2.25, I could get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I can actually get more out of the remainder of this A4 by cutting a strip at 2.25 inches, which will then be 4.5 inches, the second measurement. So they should both measure 2.25. Yeah, they do. And then this one, 2.25, 4.5. And this is just to get the least amount of wastage as I can, because I would prefer to get as many, you know, end pieces as I can out of this foam board, because I may need some more if I split my boxes into square and rounds. I do need some more to put my bigger numbers on, my divider numbers. So there we go. I've got 2 that are the right width, and now they need marking up at, see, 3.5, 3.25, 3.5. So 3.5, 7, 10.5. I'm actually thinking it might be easier to use one of these. I don't know, I'm here now. So we've got, again, just marking my other side, 3.5, 7, 10.5. Chop these up. That bit is a discard. So if you cut these in, you know, the most economical way that you can, using the foam board, depending on how many boxes you're making up, with an A4 sheet of cardboard, you can get 1 of these and 6 of these out of 1 piece. That's the most economical, because all the wastage that you have then is this strip and a couple of these and 1 of those, I think. That's all you end up with as wastage. So if you're doing multiple boxes, then that's your best way to cut it up, is to cut up 1 long divider and then do 6 of these. Because if you're going to do, oh, let me get hold of one. If you're going to do these with that are thicker with the numbers on the end, the only difference is that's 2 pieces of this instead of 1. That is the only difference. Instead of using 1 piece of foam, I've used 2, so that I can then put a sticker on and put my numbers on. So if you're going to do a full new setup box and want to have the dividers with the numbers on as well, then you will need more pieces of foam cut to this size. So 3.5, 7, 10.5. Cut these last pieces and then we get to make them look a little bit prettier, because making things look a little bit prettier is always good. So the sizes for these dividers, even the cardstock dividers that I use in the spare storage, all of the measurements for those are on my website, addmorezest.com. There is a section called spare storage. There's also a section in our favourites. There's a section in videos and there's a section in our favourites, both dedicated to spare storage. But if we have a look, each of my cards, I'm just trying to find the easiest one to take out and be able to put back in. So each one of these cards is numbered with the DMC. Let's say if you go to addmorezest.com and go to spare storage, there are all sorts of videos that I've got to in this system. And every now and then I have a rearrange, or every now and then I need more. And this is a video for I need a 4th box. Let's make some foam. So I've used 2 sheets of A4 and I've got my basic dividers and back pieces for this. I'm going to keep these 3 separate as they were, because these came out of a box that got too full. And the idea is that I want to be able to put them back. So now let's make these look a little bit nicer. I'm not keen on the sort of foam look. You can just leave them as this. I've had them just like that for ages. I have had them like that for ages before I decided to add stickers to them. I even had them as pieces of card, you know, card that came from like boxes from Amazon. I had them as pieces of card for a while as well, and that worked also. But I do have these, it's just matte white paper. It's basically a full sticker sheet. This is a sticker in its entirety, and what I'm doing is I'm just putting a sticker on the top to make it look pretty. So these boards were 11 inches long, and I'm going to cut a 1-inch sticker, will be plenty. So I'm going to cut a strip, 1 inch should be plenty. Oh yeah. So I'm going to cut them at 1 inch. I need 3 long ones. 1, 2, and 3. And I actually need them 11 inches in length, which is the length of my foam board. So it just needs a little bit cutting off the end. If you're using 8.5 by 11 sticker sheets, if you're in the US, then of course you've already got it by 11. You just need to cut it down to 1 inch. Okay, which one have I cut down? Those 2 are cut down. This one isn't. So they need to be, there we go. So I've got 3 at 8.5, sorry, 11 by 1 inch. And then for these, I need them at 2 1/4. So that's the same width across. So let's go 2 1/4. And then I want them at 1 inch as well. So we've got 1 inch. Because these aren't my wider ones. These are just my single ones. So 1 inch, 3, 4. Of course, it's not going to give me 6. It's going to give me 5. That's fine. Let's cut that one at 1 inch. I'm just trying to keep the biggest piece of sticker paper left. And then 2 1/4. Did I cut those others at 2 1/2? Oh, flipping have done. Cut those at 2 1/2, not 2 1/4. That's because I'm not used to always working in inches. I quite often work in metric. It really depends on what it is. I work on a mixture of the two. So let me just put these back to being 2 1/4 as they're supposed to be. There we go. Okay, so our sticker paper is all cut. So I'll pop those 2 pieces aside because I may well use them if I need to create any more. But that's not till the next time. So to add my sticker paper front, I am going to, and this is the bit that takes a bit, it's getting the backing off the sticker paper. Actually, I'm better using this craft knife. I think this was how I got them off easier last time. It's by using a craft knife, using that as a nail rather than my actual nail. But it's still very much hit and miss. No, I'm not even getting the backing off. I'm splitting the paper in half. There we go. Got it. Okay, got one. So I'm pulling all the backing off and putting the sticker paper upside down. The reason for this is I want to try and get my foam board in the middle as much as I can. So I'm going to go for what looks like the straightest edge because it's not the neatest that I do it. That looks about in the middle. Oh, that didn't help, and I've got some foam board stuck to it. Let's try that again. That's about in the middle. I've even missed a bit on the end, and then I'm going to fold down one side and fold down the other side. Quite simply, that's all I've done, and that's just to make that have a nice crisp white edge. It is not needed in any way, shape or form to make your box work. It is purely aesthetic and just whether you think it's nicer. In fact, no, let's finish fighting with the big pieces. Try my nail. If it doesn't work, I'll go back to the craft knife. And what you can do is you can always cut these a little bit longer than 11 inches and then trim the edge off. Because sometimes the foam board, depending on which angle you cut it at, depends on whether your measurements end up exact or not. I've never found the perfect way to cut foam board yet. The only suggestion I have is get yourself, some form of craft knife and try and extend it quite a bit so that it can go through the full thickness of the foam. So that's 2. Number 3. Come on. Oh, I thought I had it then. This is what you'll spend most of your time doing. Just trying to get the backing off sticker sheets. Never mind cutting foam board. It's just trying to get the back off the stickers. That's what takes the time. There we go. And then tidying up the mess afterwards when you're finished. That's the other thing I spend the most time doing. Tidying up my mess. Okay, let's go for about there. Doesn't have to be exact because it will get covered up with my cardstock and my baggies with my diamonds in them. It will get covered up with all of that. I just try to make the sides as evenish as I can. Okay, so all my top pieces are done. One of them is not too pretty, but it'll do. And then I just want to do the same with my inserts, with my pieces for the back and the front. And these pieces for the back and the front, again, are not needed. They're not a requirement. The one at the front can be really handy because when you pop in your cardstock piece with a number on it, let me grab one. When you put your cardstock in with a number on it, if you put that right in the front, it can get stuck by the edge. Whereas if you put your piece of foam first, you've got a chance of seeing what the number is. So that's the only reason that the front one is worth having. The back one, not as much, but I like to set it up with it. And then when I do find that my box is getting a little bit of a squeeze, I can take that foam board out and give myself more breathing room. The only thing is, my boxes have got to the point where I took the back out for more breathing room, and they've since got fuller. And taking out the foam isn't giving it enough breathing room. It needs another box. So I'm going to try going to a box of spares for rounds and one for squares. And I'm going to see if that will work, but that will be in my next video about my spares next week. I'm going to do that as a separate video to see if it works. But this video is a nice reference for you if you want to create more foam board. This will give you all the sizes to create your foam board for however many photo boxes you need to create it for. If you're doing it in another form of a box, any other shape box, you can still do the foam boards. You just may need to check your measurements. But I highly recommend that you have a piece of foam board at the front to help you be able to see the number on your first card. The back is purely preference. And I do recommend, and I didn't do this till later on, that your foam board is lower than your cards with your DMC numbers on. That they are lower down because they are there to help them stay up. They're not there to match. That wasn't the prettiest sticking of a sticker either. It's a good job you hardly see these. As long as the top looks okay, it just makes it look a little bit nicer. Come on, last sticker. Last one. There we go. I might have to get some more foam board as well, depending on how my sorting out my storage goes. Because I've only got one more sheet of white. Okay, foam boards are all done. So we have one at the front, one at the back. You can always stick these ones at the front and at the back in if you wish. Say, I like to have the option to be able to move them and get rid of them if required. So I don't tend to hold them in. But if you can find something that's like temporary to hold them, you know, that won't make it be there forever, it can be quite handy. But there we go. I have another box ready for spares. So if you're interested in whether I manage to split my squares and rounds or not, then do stay tuned. I have another video coming in a few days, I think. I think I've scheduled it for a few days because that will make me complete the video, and I need to know whether they're going to fit into square and round split or whether I need to just shuffle them all into 4 boxes. Yeah, it's a question that I need answering, so you're not going to have to wait too long for the next video. But that's how you create your foam inserts for your potential storage for your DM for your spares. If you've got any questions, do pop them down below, and don't forget to let me know down below how you do your spares. Do you do it in the same way or not? But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all again soon.